Okay. Good evening, everybody. This is meteorologist Elijah Kirby. And we're live here due to a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued here by the National Weather Service in Huntsville for Moore County. Let me go ahead and pull up the chat room here just so I can have that off to the side. So, the reason why this warning is out, I believe, is down south in Huntsville, and you can actually see the tornado warnings down there right now. But they've had a few confirmed tornadoes down there, so I think that they're being a little bit cautious here and putting out this severe thunderstorm warning just to be on the safe side, which I definitely understand that. So I'm going to get on the so that's really what I'm thinking here is just, there's a lot of low-level rotation in the atmosphere this evening. So, they're just being a little bit cautious, which I definitely understand. So, looking at the velocity data here, not seeing anything overly impressive on, not seeing anything overly impressive on my end with the velocity data. The greens would be where the strongest wind gusts are, and I would say down here in the southern tip of Moore County, there around Hurdlow is probably where the worst of the wind is right now. You can kind of see that here with the bowing out signature of the greens. Now, I'm not even going to show the what the radar thinks these winds are because it's not anything impressive. I can go ahead and tell you that just based off the color. But I really think that this is just a precautionary warning just to be on the safe side. I definitely respect that because there have been some tornadoes on the ground around Huntsville this evening from a very unimpressive looking storms. So, looking at Tullahoma, just some moderate to heavy rainfall, nothing to be concerned about in Tullahoma there. Same thing for Manchester, and the heaviest rainfall is actually moving out of Bedford County now. You can kind of see the back end of the heavy rain here from Fairfield down to Normandy, over towards Bottle Hollow and Ross, and down towards Lynchburg. And this is all pushing off towards the east, okay? Mother Nature will humble you sometimes, and I said that we weren't going to have any severe weather today, and I really don't know if we'll have any reports come out of this warning. But, sometimes you just gotta run with what cards you're dealt. So, to make sure everyone is clear, there's no severe weather threat for Coffee or Bedford counties this evening. This is strictly a warning for Moore County and into Franklin County. Okay, that's really the only portion of the area that I'm concerned about is here in Moore County. Okay. Yes, there is a severe thunderstorm warning in Moore County, which is why I'm live. You can see that here with the yellow outline extends all the way over to Fayetteville almost. Now this box isn't going to be drawn amazingly, but you'll get the general idea here of the warning. So that's really what I'm watching right now. We'll dig back down into the data here just for a minute, just to see what it looks like. I am gonna. Yeah, there are a few areas of very weak rotation showing up here. I'm gonna look at the correlation coefficient just to see. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything. This is what we would call the debris tracker, what some news stations will call the debris tracker. This is just looking at different objects that the radar is picking up. The blue colors would indicate foreign objects that aren't raindrops, and it's all pretty well correlated with the brown colors. So not seeing any debris being lofted, nothing like that. This is just really a pretty run-of-the-mill springtime thunder shower, if you ask me, with some heavy rainfall. But just keeping a close eye here on the winds, because, like I said, there have been some very weak spin-up tornadoes in the Huntsville area earlier today. So, just keeping a close eye on these storms, just in case something crazy decides to pop up. And again, Manchester, Tullahoma, Shelbyville, you're all good. This is strictly a Moore County threat, and it's about to be out of Moore County and into Franklin County. So, not going to have very much time left here on this severe thunderstorm warning for Moore County. Yeah, lots of heavy rainfall. Probably getting some thunder and lightning here and there as well. But the severe weather threat and the tornado threat is very low outside of these random spin-up tornadoes, that we happen to be watching this evening unfold across the Huntsville metro. There is a little bit of rotation here just outside of Estill Springs along 41A. Really surprisingly close to where the tornado went through on Sunday. But looking at the correlation coefficient, looking for debris, everything's brown. So that would show me that, that there's no debris being lofted by a tornado or anything like that at this point. So, yeah, the tornado sirens go off in Franklin County for severe thunderstorm warnings. It should really be called severe warning sirens because, they don't go off strictly for tornadoes like they do everywhere else. So, no, if you're in Shelbyville, you're good to go. I'm going to be going to bed myself here after a while. So, all good in Shelbyville. Thank you for the stars, everybody. Thank you for the stars. So, like I've been saying, we're just watching this severe thunderstorm warning here. I did put out an update today that said I didn't expect any severe weather, and I still think that this storm is well below severe limits. Outside of, the chance for maybe a brief spin-up tornado. Okay. Well, Huntsville has issued a tornado warning here for Franklin County. So I'll go ahead and talk about this. So tornado warning here for Estill Springs. This is for that area rotation I was just talking about a second ago. Right along 41A. Just north of downtown Estill Springs, and this is moving off towards the northeast. Okay, so if this circulation continues, it will be entering Coffee County over the next little bit. I don't know if Nashville will warn on it or not, but we will see. But so the tornado warning here, let's see what time it expires at. So it expires at 9 p.m., so we have about 25 minutes here on this tornado warning. So if you're in Tullahoma, you're, downtown Tullahoma, you're all good. Franklin County side of Tullahoma, just go ahead and seek shelter for me. If you're in Estill Springs, seek shelter for me. Those along Woods Reservoir, UTSI Road, going up into the Air Force Base, just go ahead and seek shelter here until this tornado warning is able to be canceled. Still not seeing any signs of debris being lofted here for with this storm. There's some brown colors here. That's all good for in terms of debris being lofted. So I think the Weather Service in Huntsville is just being overly cautious with these circulations, just because of what they're doing in the Huntsville metro area. There's already been 2 tornadoes on the ground in the past hour down in North Alabama. So this is just a precautionary tornado warning here. I'm going to go ahead and go to this velocity, or the storm relative velocity. So you have the greens blowing towards the radar site and the reds blowing away, and this is going to be right over 41A, just north of downtown Estill Springs, okay? So here's the latest scan. It just came in, and we're zooming way down in here into the couplet of this potential tornado. So this would be right here, UTSI Road, goes up towards the Air Force Base, and then you have Tullahoma Highway right here. The greens, winds blowing towards the radar, and then the reds are winds blowing away from the radar. And this would be almost right over the drive-in there, Montana Drive-In, on the south side of Tullahoma right now, okay? So if you're between Tullahoma and Estill Springs, just go ahead and seek shelter for me. This is a precautionary tornado warning, but with what we've seen down in Alabama today, it's better to be on the safe side and just take this warning seriously. All right. And this is for Franklin County, okay? So this is for, this tornado warning is for Franklin County, not for Moore County or Lincoln County or Coffee or Bedford County, just Franklin County at this current moment, okay? And again, the greens blowing towards the radar site, the reds blowing away, and Montana Drive-In is somewhere right here in this area. This is UTSI Road going out towards the Air Force Base, and then you have 41A here, of course, that goes up into Tullahoma. Washington Street should be all good. This circulation is staying south of Tullahoma proper. This is going to go up, in a pretty remote area here of northern Franklin County. Just lots of pine forests up in this area. I'll pull up another map, Google Maps, just to make sure I'm being correct about this. But I think it's mostly pine. Pine forests up in this area. Yeah, it's mostly pine forests, going up into the Air Force Base. So the good news is that there's not a ton of houses, right up here in this area, but, UT Farm Road, Spring Creek Road, and then you're getting really into, the remote pine forest areas of the Air Force Base. Yes, Deckard is fine. Deckard is fine. This is a tornado warning for between Estill Springs and Tullahoma. Very similar area to where the tornado touched down a couple days ago. So yes, War Trace is fine. This is this kind of blew up out of nowhere, and I'll go ahead and give the spiel for everybody. I made a post this morning that said I wasn't expecting severe weather, and these storms have surprised us in North Alabama tonight and produced a few tornadoes, 2 actually, right outside of Huntsville, and so we're just being. I think the Weather Service in Huntsville is just being extra cautious here with the tornado warnings. Just to be on the safe side, because we did have 2 very quick spin-ups occur in North Alabama. So, and you can even tell from, this just doesn't look very impressive on a reflectivity. You have the band of heavy rainfall, and then, usually you'd like to see a hook or something where the rotation is, but there's just nothing there. Absolutely nothing there. So it's very, very interesting situation here, to say the least. Flat Creek is good. Flat Creek is good. Lynchburg is good too now at this point. This is strictly for extreme northern or extreme northern Franklin County, between Tullahoma and Estill Springs. I'm on the Coffee County side of Estill Springs, so it's kind of confusing. Well, if you're on the Coffee County side, then you're not in a warning at this moment, and we'll wait and see what the Weather Service decides to do here in Nashville. I seriously doubt this gets extended into Nashville's coverage area, but we'll keep an eye out. Still not seeing any signs of debris. So just to give y'all some education this evening, since we're just looking at this very weak rotation at this point. You see these colors out here that I'm circling near Lynchburg, the blues and the greens and stuff. That's what I would like to see in the middle of this brown and reddish color. That's where I would, that's when, I could probably be pretty confident that there's a tornado on the ground or there's debris being lofted if we had some of these blue values inside the brown values here around Estill Springs. But these blue values over here mean nothing. This is nothing important over here, right? But the brown values, this is just the radar saying, hey, I'm seeing uniform, I'm seeing uniform shapes when I shoot the beam out, and it's all raindrops. But if you get some of those blue values inside the brown, like, if there was some blue values right here, that could scream, oh, wait, there could be some debris being lofted by this storm, and, potentially there could be a tornado on the ground. But I'm not seeing that, which is great news. So. Nothing in Callan. And I'm not even seeing any rotation at all at this point. It's very light, very weak rotation. There is some greens and reds here, but it's not very impressive to me. So I would expect this warning to get canceled fairly quickly here. But still, if you're in Estill Springs, just stay sheltered for a couple more seconds here. Thank you, Miss Jody. Yes, I'll zoom in so y'all can see some street names here, if that's what y'all want. It gets a little crowded. Now this is where the rotation is at this current moment, so this is going to be Spring Creek Road and Quail Road. This is why I don't like to zoom in super far, because I seem like that I'm making people nauseous when I zoom in super far. So that's why I usually don't do it. But this one it isn't even giving me a name. I think that's an Air Force Base private road there. It looks like it is on Google Maps anyway. So yeah, if you're wondering why I don't zoom in super often on this, I still try to give street names when I'm able to, but I don't zoom in super far on Radar Omega just because the street names don't show up until you're like down at the house level, and I just don't want to make people nauseous just zooming in and out all the time, naming off streets. So that's why I don't do that specifically. Yeah, I can name off a few more streets here. So this is where the rotation is. You got the greens blowing away from the radar and the reds blowing towards the radar. Thank you, Trevor, for the stars. So this is going to be right outside of Tullahoma. So Old Estill Springs Road, Harton Boulevard, and Spring Creek Road again. Elsie Circle and Parham Boulevard, Courtwood Lane, and then these streets up here are just those are Air Force Base private roads. Um, I think that they looks like there's some tree farms or something up there by the Air Force Base, but no homes, no homes. No, Manchester won't be impacted by this. Manchester it won't be impacted by this. This kind of just came out of nowhere here. Yeah, there have been some very brief tornado touchdowns in North Alabama near Huntsville this evening, but I don't expect this to have produced a tornado. There's no data that screams a tornado's on the ground to me with the debris tracker correlation coefficient. So I think we're gonna be good to go here in just a minute. This warning does go for another 15 minutes. We'll see. Trevor, yes, Lewisburg is all good. Bedford County is all good too, and Moore County is all good. This is just a quick hitting tornado warning here for Franklin County. Cowan's going to get some heavy rain, but I doubt anything tornadic. $1.25 in about 20 minutes in Lincoln County. So it's a lot of heavy rainfall coming down. Hannah, I'm not seeing anything that just screams tornadic rotation in my opinion. There is there's some weak rotation here, just north of Estill Springs, what we've been tracking, and but in terms of the bowling alley, I'll have to. Is that the Tullahoma bowling alley? Because it should stay south of the Tullahoma bowling alley, if that's what you're talking about. Because I do know there's one there off Anderson Street, but I'm not very weak storm. Wartrace is fine. No issues there in Wartrace. The internet and such, so I apologize for that. No, you're fine. There's, if you're in Coffee County, just keep on going about your business. Um, yes, by exit 114 should be okay. You're going to get some heavy rainfall here after a while. I'll give a quick overview. Of everybody here. So, for those just joining us, watching a tornado warning here over Estill Springs, and elsewhere, just some heavy rainfall. Okay, and this is all pushing off towards the north and east. Let's see how fast. Okay, moving east at 25, so fairly slow moving storm here. Tim's Ford is fine. This is just some heavy rainfall in Tim's Ford. Yeah, so the Weather Service just said the Weather Service in Nashville says they're not planning a, tornado warning for Coffee County. So parameters aren't as favorable in our area as they are to our south in Huntsville, where they had the tornado, the two tornadoes that were on the ground just a little bit ago. But there's nothing really to be concerned about here. Tullahoma, you're fine. Manchester, you're fine. Estill Springs, just stick with me a couple more minutes here. I know, it's rough to sit in your safe place for a long period of time, but I'm keeping an eye on the chat room so I can let y'all know. Yeah, they, some news organizations and stuff, they track out the tornadoes far in advance. That's something you can't do tonight. These circulations are short-lived, maybe tens of minutes at the most. You can't track them out 30 miles in advance. There is no confirmed tornado in Lynchburg. There's been zero confirmed tornadoes anywhere. I don't. I'm looking at all the same stuff the news is looking at. I have the same chat room stuff with the Weather Service. I have everything. I have all the same knowledge that the meteorologists on TV have, and I'm just not seeing anything. Not seeing anything too crazy right now. I mean, I've been telling people if you're in Estill Springs, just stick with me a little bit longer just in case. But, there's no reason to get everybody up in arms about this. Estill Springs, just stay with me a little bit longer. The warning actually did cut out of downtown Estill Springs, but just stick with me a little bit longer here. Calls community. I'll have to look that up on my maps here. Nothing's coming up. Calls, Tennessee. Oh yeah, I see you up there. Okay. Just on the north shore of Woods Reservoir, just some heavy rainfall coming in. I don't see anything crazy on radar. Still just very broad rotation. Red's blowing away, green's blowing towards the radar, and this is what I would call very broad and non-tornadic, non-tornadic circulation. So I'll look at the correlation coefficient one more time here just to make sure no debris is being lofted. I'm not seeing anything at all. So I think we're going to get through this just fine. So, I get these questions or comments every time saying, the news is saying this, the news is saying that, I interpret the radar the way I see it, and what the chat room is saying. The meteorologists at the Weather Service, I'm looking at that. I'm interpreting the radar for myself with the education that I've received, some meteorologists communicate in different ways, which is fine, but I'm not going to go crazy over you know, over circulation. I'm not going to track a circulation into a different county that doesn't have a tornado warning on it if I don't think there's anything worth mentioning. There's no tornadic rotation here within this line. So that's just what that's what I think. there's no tornado on the ground here. And we can confirm that again, like I've been showing y'all. With the debris, no blues on the all brown. So the radar's saying, hey, I'm shooting into raindrops. The only thing I'm seeing is raindrops. So, yeah, Manchester's fine. Tullahoma, you're good. And Hillsboro, you're going to be fine too. Just some heavy rainfall here moving through. So, yeah, and we'll talk about that here while this tornado warning remains in effect. There's, and I'm not getting on anyone in the comments. I mean, I'm not getting on to anybody. I appreciate everybody that tunes in. I'm not getting mad at anyone for what they're saying or anything like that. And I appreciate the communication that we can have on here. But if you would rather trust what another meteorologist says, and that's fine. But there's not a tornado on the ground. The Weather Service in Huntsville has said nothing about it, and they're the ones that issued the warning. A tornado warning means that tornado is radar indicated. And that's, yeah. It means that, a tornado has been indicated on radar or by trained storm spotter. This was via radar. And a couple minutes ago, I mean, the rotation didn't look all that bad. If we circle back here, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, there was a little bit of rotation, especially just north of Estill Springs. That's when the tornado warning first came out. But you can see how that quickly died off. Especially right between 8:41 and 8:43, that rotation died off significantly. And now it's nothing. I mean, if we looked at this camera here, this is really close to the circulation. This camera at the UT Space Institute. And it's had a max wind gust of 9 miles an hour in the past 5 minutes. So, don't think there's ever been a 9 mile an hour tornado confirmed. Yeah, I mean, the wind is blowing a little bit. Got a 60-second gust up to 9 miles an hour now. Heavy rainfall. Like I said, I'm not getting on anyone for posting that stuff in here. I don't care. But there's no reason to be concerned here with a tornado at this point. I'm a degree meteorologist, just like the big folks on the big TV are, and if I see something, I call it that way. thank you everybody for the stars. We're having a good time tonight. Good time tonight, and it's all like I'm saying. There's no hard feelings or anything. We're we're just having some good discourse here in the comment section of the live stream while we're waiting for this warning to get canceled. Yeah, so there it goes. The warning just come off the screen here, and we're good to go. Moore County is good to go. Don't see any more rotation here. Yeah, Trevor, I understand that, and thank you for. Yeah, there. Like I said, some meteorologists have different ways of communicating stuff, and that's totally okay. But I'll stick to what I can see on my end with the data that I have. The meteorologists on TV are using the exact same data I have. They don't have anything extra. So if their communication style might be a little bit different than mine, but at the end of the day, it's all the same data, and I'm gonna communicate it how I best see fit for the page. So, in addition, the severe thunderstorm warning has been canceled as well, I believe. No, it's just a tornado warning. Excuse me. Severe thunderstorm warning remains in effect, but tornado warning has been canceled. So, Cowan, you're still in the severe thunderstorm warning for another 15 minutes, but there's no tornadic rotation that I'm seeing at this current moment. So, just some heavy rainfall, not even much lightning going on here, if that tells you anything. So, yeah. I'm going to hop off here. There's nothing overly concerning that I'm seeing right this moment, and Moore County, all of Moore County, all of Coffee County, and all of Bedford County are in the clear from this weird severe weather tornado threat. So no severe weather tonight. We're all done with the with the severe weather, whatever the heck this was. We're all done with it. So thank you guys for tuning in, and y'all have a blessed rest of your night.